Hey folks, it's Farmer Marshall. I made a commitment earlier this year to grow almost everything from seed, and now I have seedlings. So it's time to up pot these babies. Now these are just some of my seedlings. In order to save money, I always save these from previous years when I was buying things at the big box stores. So I'm going to start these tomato seedlings. That's Barrel Prince saying hi. Using some basic soil. Now my seedlings were planted in combination of perlite, vermiculite, and compost. And this was my own formula. I didn't buy that. And one thing with those things, they don't have any nutrition to them. So now that I've gotten them this big, I have been fertilizing them once they got the first 3 sets of leaves on them, because initially you don't really need to fertilize them. But now, not only do they need to be fertilized, but they need to be up potted. I had really good germination on these. I put 2 to 3 seeds into each cell. I got more tomatoes than I really need, but I'd rather waste some seeds and have more than I need than have a lot of these seeds not germinate. Now, since they're all in here together, it might seem difficult to separate them, but you can just dip them in some water. That will help loosen them from the growing material. From there, you can gently pull them apart. Look at that. Good roots, very good roots. One thing with tomato plants, they always say, plant them deep, because that's going to get you a bigger root system, because they will grow roots all along the side. Now that might seem really deeply buried. So now I'm going to plant it even deeper. You can plant the tomato plant. You can plant about 3/4 of the plant in soil. That should be a good plant. I am going to water it. I'll water it later on. Something that's very important, I have to make sure I do it, is, because I didn't do this last year. Well, I did, but I had problems with my labels. I labeled things and the ink washed off or faded off. So when it was time to actually put them in the garden, I didn't know what I had. I knew they were tomatoes, but I didn't know what varieties. Now, the reason that's very important is because you have essentially 2 different types of tomatoes. You have tomatoes that are considered determinate. Essentially, they're determined to get to a certain height, and they'll give you a flush of tomatoes all within maybe a 30-day period. Then you have indeterminate tomatoes, where they will grow and grow and grow and grow. I have trellises, so I have to make sure I put my indeterminate tomatoes along the lines of my trellis. So something to remember when you're planting out your tomatoes, because you might plant an indeterminate tomato on one of these little tomato cages, which I hate, but I will use them for a determinate tomato. I'll also use them for pepper plants. I'm kind of excited to be using these as opposed to these right now, because these allow me to see roots. But as usual, I tend to use what I have. I didn't go out buy any fancy pots. These pots here. I paid for them when I bought plants. So no need to throw them away. No need to add more junk into the landfill. Beautiful. These trays here were free. Well, I take that back. These trays were not free. I bought your basic, cheap 72 cell trays and I cut them to form 6 cell trays. That way I can do 6 tomatoes of this variety, another 6 of another variety, peppers of one variety. Doing it this way made it much easier for me to remove a set of plants that had germinated from a heat mat. Anyway, let me clarify something because I think I skipped past something a little quick without fully explaining. One reason I'm planting this, like half the plant, in the soil is because not only is it going to help create a better stem, but it's going to help create roots all along here. All that part that has, or that's going to get buried underground, it's going to develop roots along there. And what's the most important thing when you're trying to grow a plant? The first thing you want to develop is the root system. So developing a better root system is going to help give you a bigger, better, stronger plant that's going to give you, hopefully, bigger and better fruit, or at least more fruit. Also, something else that's important to do, you want to have your roots kind of solidly against the soil. So I do gently pat it down. I'm not pushing down really hard. Just gently pat it down to kind of get rid of some of the air pockets in here. Air pockets can cause problems with your seedling. It can cause problems with all of your plants actually, or most of them. So gently pressing down, try to get rid of some of those air pockets. And once you finish doing your plants, I mentioned it before, but make sure you water them. Sometimes we're so busy trying to get one thing done that we skip a step. These steps are important. And these seedlings are young. They were taken out of some very moist soil conditions and put in something that was completely dry. Now with these, I wasn't watering them like this. I was pouring water into the tray so I would water them from below. These guys here, I'm going to give them a good watering and I'm going to water them from above. It's amazing. It's amazing how loud cars are nowadays. Growing up, you had some cars that were loud, but they were junk. Now people are buying fancy cars or spending all this money on stuff to make their cars sound like what back in the day sounded like junk. Anyway, that's my little rant for today. Now something else is very important with these seedlings. I need to harden these guys off. Now I'm outside repotting them, but I'm not leaving these guys outside all evening, all night. I'm going to take them back inside for the rest of the evening. I'm going to take these and take them back inside for the rest of the evening. And tomorrow morning, maybe early, and tomorrow morning, I'm going to take these guys and bring them back outside. And sometime tomorrow, I'm going to bring these guys back outside, maybe around 11, 12 o'clock. I'm going to set them outside for probably about 4 hours. I'm not going to set them in direct sunlight. I'll put them in a slightly shady area or an area that gets partial sun. And I'm going to leave them out here for 4 hours the first day. The next day, maybe 5 hours. The next day, maybe 6 hours. That's what they call hardening off. You do that as a process of hardening your plants off to the natural environment. In my office where these plants have been for the last 3 weeks, it's not a natural environment. There's no harsh sun. They're in the grow lights. There's a little wind from a little fan I sat next to them. But essentially, they've been protected. But if I'm going to take these little babies and put them outside, they need to get used to being outside. So I'm going to harden them out probably for 7 to 10 days. At that point, they'll be ready to go into my garden once I put my trellises up. So I guess I got some work to do. Oh, and there's something else that's very important that I did mention. Fertilizing. I'm using a liquid fertilizer. It's already mixed in here. I put it at 1/4 strength. So if it says use a teaspoon per gallon, I put it down to 1/4 teaspoon, because these plants are very gentle, and the last thing you want to do is burn them and have them die. So as a repot these, I want to thank you for coming by and watching these videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, I just opened up a merch shop. Check it out in the description. You might find something you like down there. And if you'd like to support the channel, share the harvest of this video out to your family and friends. Plant a seed, hit that like button. Also, as a gardener, the most important thing for us is the harvest. And for me, my harvest right now is you. So please hit that subscribe button and that notification button. That way you'll be here next time I have something going on in the garden. So I gotta finish up with these plants. And as I always say, let's get out there and get a little dirty. Yeah.